Whoa, hello everybody. Trying to get everybody in here and stay on top of get my camera rolling. I don't know why my camera's not working. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yep.
Great. Emma, would you say something so I can hear you?
Yeah, can you hear me okay?
I can.
Awesome.
For everybody that's here, my son was super sick last night, so I get to um, work from home today. So if I could figure out my dumb camera, you'd all see me in the comfort of my home. Oh, that's it. There's like a sticky note covering my camera. How dumb is that? Um, well, hi everybody. Hannah is traveling this week. She's in Chicago. I think Emma, she's there for her brother's wedding, if that's right. Is
That's
that
right. My
right?
brother's wedding's this weekend.
Cool. So you're all stuck with me. We'll give a few moments um, to let people join. But today we're going to be covering projects. Holy cow, already 46 people here. When we started doing this, it would literally be like me and Hannah and like one person on this call. It was the most awkward thing ever. It was like, okay, let me show you all the things that we're doing and shipping and all the fun updates. And it was like one person who'd be like, okay, but have you, done this thing that I asked yet? We'd be like, we're working on it. But it's fun to see the group grow. While we are waiting for folks, one plug I will add is that we are trying to be more and more active in the Slant Advisor Mastermind Slack channel. So if anybody ever wants to attend, or let me see here, link copied. If anybody ever wants to join that, you're welcome to. Let me find the link here and I'll throw it in the chat. Um, everybody. Um, it's a good opportunity to mingle with other folks outside of just this meeting. I'm trying to be better about posting like the recording to this meeting, and then product updates as well. So I encourage you to join there. See if I can get some more light on me here. This is nice and dark. Um, all right, let's get started. So today we're going to cover projects in depth, and I apologize in advance if my son walks in here. He's watching a movie downstairs, but it's set to finish before this webinar is over. So you all have to bear with me. We're going to cover projects today. I think it's beneficial for folks to kind of get an overview of what projects are first, and then we'll kind of dive into a project that I made, and we'll learn like some best practices, and then we can workshop things as well. Projects that you all have wanted to tackle. So projects in Slant are. Let me share my screen here. Um, are most synonymous with like workflows in other tools. So if you came from Wealthbox or Redtail, that's probably what you're most familiar with is workflows. And that's what we call projects. We get a little bit confusing, I guess, because we think of workflows more as automations, like the automated things, trigger and then a bunch of actions. But in this case, let me just show you this like kind of silly one that I have for new client onboarding, and then we'll jump into a more robust project. So we're kind of just laying the groundwork. In Slant, a project is made up of milestones. So you'll see milestones here: gather information, open and fund accounts, and initial client meeting. When you kick off a project, it automatically adds folks to this very first milestone here on the left. It automatically adds people to the bunny or to the gather information milestone. This milestone, when a project enters this step, people will automatically get three different tasks. And I'll show you how it looks on this screen, and then we'll jump into the settings and it'll look a little bit more straightforward. So when somebody joins this project and is added to this milestone, three projects will be created automatically. If I jump back to the bunny household, which as many of you know, this is kind of what I use for my example account, you'll see tasks that are created here. And over here on the left-hand side, you'll see this is a part of the bunny family onboarding project. Okay, so when they're added to a project, all those tasks get created and added automatically to the client record. Let's say I go in here and these are just now normal tasks. So I come in here and I'm happy. I've completed the client profile for onboarding. I've entered the key fields. I complete that. That is now done. This increments now to one of the 3 is done. This one had an AI action, so I need to complete the risk tolerance questionnaire. Bugs and Lola, I'm sending over risk tolerance questionnaire, blah, blah, blah. You can expand that, send this email, and kick off that task. And then let's just complete the last one. When that milestone is completed, in that instant, in this case, we just move that project immediately to the next milestone. I'll show you how there's a little bit of variability with how that action works. That's what we call outcomes. But in this case, it's a really simple workflow. We'll get more complicated as we go. 2 more tasks are created. This one, I need to send another email to prepare accounts. Yep, looks good. I'm going to send that email and check off that task. And then I'll check off this task. This is what I was talking about. So there's an outcome, and there's a couple of different outcomes that we can select. So I'll show you that in just a moment. We'll just complete that. We'll say, yes, proceed. And that will now move on to that 3rd milestone. On this like really high level overview so far, are there questions, anything that we want to double click into here before we get more complicated? Cool. Emma, is the chat okay?
Yeah, we're good.
Lightweight so far? Okay. You guys are being nice to me today. Usually I'm typing furiously by 3 minutes into the webinar. Okay, that's a really simple project template. Let's dive into the settings and we'll get a little bit more in depth. So I'm here on projects. I'm going to click on, you can either do it here from the little settings icon to manage project types, or you just go into your settings, and here along the bottom under customization, there's different project types. First thing, this is important to know, there are a couple of different ways that you can scope projects. So you can build a company level project. That means if you have like multiple books, if you're a bigger firm, you have multiple books, you can create one project template that applies to all of your books. So all the CSAs in your different books have the same template regardless of what book they're working out of. In this case for today, I just built one in my book specifically. Let's call this webinar. You may have seen Waterboy up there. Waterboy is an AI agent that we have that helps me do things. So Waterboy AI actually built this project template and I went through and edited. So in this case, we have a new account opening template. This is AI generated. You all are going to want to make 1 million edits to fit your specific setups. But I want to demonstrate a couple of different things. On the left-hand side, you'll see milestones. These are those vertical, like swim lanes or milestones that we demonstrated earlier. Each milestone comes with a couple things along the top here. Each milestone has tasks. So in this case, it has a task. It has a templated task. Welcome call with client full name. I'm using variables here. Introductory call with client full name at client phone. Confirm goals, timeline, expectations for opening account type account. High priority, the label, I gave it calls because it's a call. It's assigned to me. It's due in a day. These are tasks. These are just like task templates. Hopefully you're all pretty familiar with how to create a task in Slant. I'll come back a few different times because I want to show you how we do these variables really nicely. You'll see it kind of shows funny here on the front end. But that's a task. I see some chats coming in. Emma, am I good to keep going?
Yeah, go ahead. I think Thomas is going to jump in as well to help with the chat.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, we have templated tasks in each milestone. There's also outcomes. So you all saw this as a part of that moving from that second to the third milestone that I demonstrated earlier. An outcome is a way that we ask, hey, you completed all the tasks in that milestone. What do you want to do? And so there's a couple different things that can happen after. So for instance, in this case, let's say all 3 of these tasks were completed in this client discovery milestone. There will be a pop-up that's going to say, you can say, hey, the discovery was complete. And if that's true, it'll just move them on to the next milestone. You can say, hey, this project's on hold. And I'm going to automatically move them to the on hold milestone. So it'll skip them to the end. And this is kind of like a holding tank for tasks or projects that are awaiting more information or whatever the case may be. The project has stalled. And then there's cancel project. I can come through, even though I've done all these tasks, I can say, hey, this project has been canceled. I'm going to complete it and move it off this board. Outcomes are a really clean way of automating where a project goes as a function of the project's progress. Any question on outcomes, or is that feeling good? I can't see the chat or your faces, so please feel free to chime in here. Outcomes happen after the tasks are all done, when a project is ready to leave that milestone. Form inputs, on the other hand, is a pop-up that happens when a project enters a milestone. So when a project enters this client discovery milestone, we're going to ask a bunch of questions. This is a way to make sure that you have all the right information so that you can process a project. So in this case, it's going to ask for the client full name, the client email, client phone, client account type, and the funding amount. I'm going to go through and I need to make sure that this has Kanban enabled. I'll tell you what that means in a moment. I'm going to go through in another tab and start one of these projects so that we can kind of look at it in 2 different windows and make sure that we're understanding everything. So I'm going to go to this new account opening webinar, and I'm going to start a project for, we're going to call webinar test. Actually, let's just grab a household. Let's do the Wile E. Coyote household. Wile E. Coyote 529 opening. So he wants to open some 529s for little kids. Okay, the project type is this new account opening webinar and assigned to Hayden Neal. These are the form fields that we just looked at. So when a project is entering this first milestone, remember the project starts always on this leftmost milestone. When they're entering that milestone, we have to ask some questions to make sure we know everything. So when I come back here to this first tab, so I'm going to jump around a little bit, that's these questions right here. So I can do things like I can say, yep, this is for Wiley. Let's call it, I don't know, Jane Coyote. This is Wiley's kid. Jane at, I don't know, looneytunes.com. The email is, or the phone number rather, is 503-915-2494. That's my phone number. The account type. So in this case, I have a couple of drop-down options. So you'll see over here in the account type form field, there are, I did a select type. So there's lots of different types. There's text types. You can do long text, number, currency, date, select, yes, no, or Boolean. And then you can do a household field, pipe in a household field, and you can attach a file as well. In this case, I picked select because there's a few different options. So you can add options here. What are all the different account types that you open? Maybe it's better to do that as a text so that you're not adding like a million different selections. But in this case, I don't even have a 529, so maybe let's just change this example. We'll do a Roth. Okay, we're opening a Roth IRA for Jane Coyote, and the funding amount is $15,000. We're going to create a project. Okay, that exists. You'll see all the progress bars here. And then what's cool is since we've collected all this information, I'll now come back to the tasks. Since we've collected all this information, we can use that information dynamically. So I can say welcome call with client full name, introductory call with client full name at client phone, opening a account type account. The way you add that is by using the curly bracket icon like that. You can also, make think, yep, you can click on this button right here and it will pop it open. The form fields will be here at the top. So I collected information on these 5 things right here. And then you could drop down and do more household fields. So since we know this is attached to a household, we can pull in things like the household name, the leader's first name. So this would show like the head of household and the spouse or the partner's first names, if there are 2, or just 1 if there's just 1. Next meeting start time, all these different fields specific to the head of household, specific to the spouse partner, specific to the company, their custom fields, all this stuff. Again, the way you do that is by typing the curly bracket character, and then all those pull up. Or you click on insert variable. So in this case, now let me go back to the Wile E. Coyote example. There are 3 tasks created. So in this one, welcome call with Jane Coyote, introductory call with Jane Coyote at 539-52494, confirm goals, timeline, and expectations for opening a Roth IRA account. You'll notice all of those things came through as variables, all 4 of them. This is just information about the task, so you can see its label and its priority and all that. You can see the form responses. These are all the things that I requested when a project entered this milestone. And then comments you can add in here. Doing the things. It's done, and now I can check off this task. I'm going to go ahead and, well, maybe I should pause here. How's the chat? Emma, are we all right? Keep going?
Yeah, you can keep going.
Awesome. I'll go ahead and complete the rest of these tasks in the client discovery milestone. Oh, that's fun. It shows how long it's been in this milestone, so you can see where tasks are getting slowed down, or projects are getting slowed down. I'm gonna go ahead and complete the rest of these tasks. Let's just imagine that I did them. And what we're gonna see once I complete this is it's gonna pop open that outcomes pop up. So it's gonna ask me, okay, well, what happened? An outcome is required. So let me go back over to the template and I'll show you the different outcomes, and I'll remind you what they do. So in this case, there are 3 different outcomes. The first is the discovery is complete. I can say, hey, the client info was captured and I'm moving them on to paperwork. And if I select that, it will just move them to the next milestone. If I say, hey, the project has stalled, it's on hold, it's going to move them to a specific milestone, and it's the on hold milestone. I just added this, like I said earlier, it's like a stalled projects milestone. It has no tasks in it. And then the third one is a cancel project. So if all of a sudden the client comes back and says, hey, I actually don't want to fund that IRA, we can click that, the cancel project, and it will move them off this board. The important thing to note is that depending on the project milestone that I'm moving that project to, there will be different form inputs. So let's say I'm moving them to, the discovery is complete. I'm going to go ahead and move them to paperwork and compliance. Client info was captured. I'm moving them to paperwork. There's now new form fields that I need to fill out. Okay, you're opening a Roth IRA. Where are you opening that? If you work with multiple different custodians, that may be relevant to you. I'm going to open this one in Schwab. What is Wiley or Jane Coyote's risk tolerance? I'm going to say it's aggressive. Let's just say moderate aggressive. And then I can select that outcome. If I move them to on hold, you'll see those form inputs go away, and it's just going to move to the on hold project milestone. And then finally, if I select cancel that project's been canceled, let's move them off this board. That will just complete the project and it will go away. They'll fall off your board. Let's move them here. I'll say Schwab and moderate conservative, and we'll just move them on. I don't want to go over stuff too much if this is just if everybody's understood it at this point. You'll see in here, I used Schwab and moderate aggressive for the form inputs, form responses on this milestone. And here you can see I'm using those in this, these different tasks. So I prepared the application, verify the identity, collect ID from Jane Coyote, and complete KYC AML checks. Yep, did that. Great. And the risk profile. moderate risk, aggressive profile, and document acknowledgement. In all of these, one thing that we've not covered, you have the opportunity in the task to set an email option. Let me find one I did. I think I did them in here. There we go. So this task in that first milestone was clearly an email. Email the new client onboarding packet to client email and confirm receipt. When, as many of you know, when Slant creates a task and recognizes that an email could help you complete that task, we write the email. In this case, you have the opportunity to either prompt the AI for what you want it to say. In this, I was just really quick, so send a friendly and concise welcome email to the new client. Or if you always use the same template, just select an email template, and you can write an email template in your settings and just send that. So I could just do test, and it would, when that task is created, it would leverage that email template. It won't send it automatically. It's still going to require you to press send. Okay, I need to pause here because I think I'm talking a lot. Anything I need to go back over in the chat? Any questions?
Ted had a good question about book chat that I'm digging into with some internal agents. So I'll have a good answer soon.
Okay, cool. Anything else that you all would like me to cover?
Does someone in the crowd have a favorite project, or when they use the most, or when they want better? Can you launch automations or sequences in a project? Yeah, starting a project can be a trigger.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah.
Project completed, another one too. Yeah, showing maybe projects how the project triggers on automation could be awesome, Hayden.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's do it.
One project that I use a ton, just because we're pretty stable on clients. We don't do a lot of onboarding because we don't have time to add new clients. Yeah. Is taxes. So we've been playing with projects a lot to do exactly that. Like some clients we're doing Roth conversions when it comes to taxes. Sometimes we're estimating tax payments. Sometimes it's helping with withholdings on W-2 people. So we just have one project called 2026 taxes, but we can jump around based off of really what they need. And so skipping some of those milestones and some of those enhancements have been really helpful.
Oh, good. I'm glad to hear that. You're just using those outcomes to move people skip milestones? Is that right?
Exactly.
Is that what I understood? Yep. Okay, that's awesome. I'm glad you're you said that. Has anybody started using the form responses, like the form inputs? Okay, we got some work then. Mm-hmm. Hopefully this has been helpful.
On skipping milestones, I think that to me is the best use of outcomes, which is there is some work and like mental training of like, okay, I have to write them in an order where when it skips, it's kind of done. But when you have your outcomes really set up, it's nice because then you can say, I was working with a customer on a move money one, and they, instead of having like 10 different move money tasks, they wanted to, okay, like move money. And then almost the picker being, is it 529? Is it qualified charitable distribution? Is it, any other number of things? And using outcomes the right way makes that a lot easier. So, yeah.
And you're absolutely right. It took time up front to think about like, what are we actually trying to do? And that was useful in and of itself. And then the outcomes really helped drive that. So it actually helped define like our business operations too, that we kind of had in our heads, kind of not. So now it's just codified, which is great.
It's a good exercise too. The times I do it and it's complicated, it's like it ends up being like a whiteboard exercise. And I don't think that's because the software is hard to use, but because it's a hard problem to solve as a business owner for all of you. So
cool. Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, let's jump into automations specific to projects. I know there's a bunch of chats, but
Jenna, I know you had a question and unmuted. Do you want to chime in, or we can answer in the chat? Either is great.
I think you might be about to answer it.
Okay, great.
But just like my question was, is it only switching between milestones? So like I could imagine where you are like triggering an automation to set up a prospect and like triggering an automation to set up an opportunity or do something related to an opportunity, and it's like it could be easier to organize it in a project instead of having it in a separate place, right? Because then it's like you're kind of intermixing what you want your CRM to do in with what you personally are having to do, and then it's all just like in a list instead of elsewhere. So I was just curious if like you have to move it to a different milestone to trigger it, or if one task can trigger the next. One automation can trigger the next.
Yeah, without like diving into your specific use case, I'm not sure that I'm gonna be able to give you like a great answer. If it's projects is meant for things that are replicable. So like onboarding a client is a good example, or moving money or opening an account or whatever. Because you have to follow the same 10 or 15 or 20 steps every time. We've had some folks try to hack projects for like one-off weird things. And that's kind of fitting a round peg into a square hole a little bit. What I would do instead there, Jenna, again, if I'm understanding you properly, is like when you create a task, and if you have to do like weird things like thing one, and
No,
let's just add,
I guess what I mean is like every single time, like if you're starting a new relationship with someone, right? Like if someone's a prospect, you want to add the prospect to your CRM. You also probably want to make them an opportunity so you can track what they're doing. And then there's probably some step after that that is something that you personally have to do, right? Like verify an email or something. So I guess what I'm saying is like what is the only in projects is the best trigger between milestones, or can the fact that one like task one being done triggers task two to be done, triggers task three to be done. You see what I'm saying?
are you thinking like each milestone has one task,
Well, I'm saying,
or are they all?
do you have to have each milestone to be one task?
Yeah, so when a project enters a milestone, all of those tasks are created at the same time.
Okay.
And you'd have to move from milestone to milestone
To
in order
trigger
for the
something.
next task to be completed.
The next,
But you
okay.
but you could set it up where you have 10 milestones and each milestone has one task. And what you could do an outcome of each, you know, of your first milestone. There's a bunch of outcomes that say, do I need to open an account? Yes, therefore move to milestone 3, not milestone 2.
Okay.
Or
Makes
something
sense.
like that. So you could do a little bit of finagling in there. But let's figure it out. Like that's the goal of this conversation, right? Is to
And
spark these.
The new client flow you talked about is great for automations. Like I get a new client,
Yeah.
I want to make one task and I want to do one thing. Like perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Makes
That's
sense.
what I was going to show here. Like Jen, most folks have their prospects in their in Slant already. So you could do like a prospect promoted to client trigger, in which case, there's a start project and we start the new account opening webinar project. And, maybe I think somebody I saw mentioned, could you add them to a sequence? You could add them to a sequence here. You could create an opportunity for them. Like you could do that from the prospect record. And then let's just
Okay.
show.
So if you want to sort of organize automations and tasks that you do yourself, that's better done in like basically here in this kind of workflow instead of thinking about things living in projects, they're kind of living in workflows. In this automations tab where you're
Yeah.
where you're
Yeah,
mixing
you can think about it that way.
personal tasks with automations. Okay, understand.
Yeah. All these things kind of work in concert. And there's certainly a lot of overlap between products or features of the product. And so figuring out like how your process works and then building that out is part of the fun. So in this case, like I just set this up, prospect promoted to client, start a project and create an opportunity. So if I come in here and find the Elmo household There's this nice black button, promote to client, promote them. I didn't add confetti like Anna would, should have. You can see like that project gets created in that new account opening webinar project template. And we created that opportunity example for $1 million and 95% ability. So you could do that. And obviously this got promoted to a client. A lot of that you could solve with automations. Great. I'm going to delete some of these things so we can look at them. Great. Cool. Have I missed any questions, or am I good to keep going here?
Hey, Hayden. Brett Weisopel here. I have a question on the projects.
Yeah.
If we're thinking like new client onboarding, I run like when I think through like, okay, I have like a get organized, and then I do separate meetings as a part of their onboarding for like investments or equity or taxes, right? We have these meetings blocked out. They're modular in nature. But like you said earlier, I don't have an issue like kind of laying them out ideally how we'd go through them. But that being said, all of those meetings don't get booked like fully in advance, right? So maybe we book like one or two in advance, and then as a part of their follow-up, they book like an equity meeting, right, to talk through their equity. One of the issues that I've been running into is not being able to like have maybe like no due date per se on like when that next task kind of kicks off or that next milestone kicks off, because it's really dependent upon when they book. And so like my tasks are getting like really bogged down because things are kind of flowing in, and the meeting's not booked yet, right?
I see.
So if I have like multiple tasks, for example, that live within a milestone, there could be 7 tasks, right? That I have to go through then and individually be like, just kick that down the can 2 weeks, or kick the can down the road 2 weeks until they book. So it's just like bogging down the dashboard. Is there any workaround for that, or maybe
like a target completion date for a milestone kind of thing?
Yeah, or like any plan to like maybe integrate somehow like a Calendly link into it, where when that link gets booked on for that specific client, it would like trigger the milestone to start.
Let me think on that. I don't know of a good solution for that right now.
Okay.
But I totally see what you're talking about. Like all these things have to happen in concert. And one thing can really hold it up. And then having like, let's go back to this. If I were to summarize what you'd want there.
Well, we have a way to complete a milestone not being the tasks, but being the meeting getting scheduled. So if that's the bottleneck, you could make that a milestone individually.
Okay.
And just say auto advance. If you go to maybe Hayden, you want to share, like go to a milestone setting. Yeah.
Let me show you here. I'm sharing my screen, right? You guys can see my screen?
Yeah. I got the weird double zoom thing.
Oh, okay.
It's like we default to every task completing on the right. But Brett, you could make that meeting scheduled, and it will just look if that client books a meeting on your calendar, it will move it on. So then you could wait for that.
Okay. And what does it, is there a specific link? Is it the link that I've put in my?
What's nice is it's just if from the time this one starts, when a new meeting hits your calendar from that user.
The next one's scheduled. Yeah.
Okay.
So you could schedule it. They could schedule it through Calendly.
Okay. I'm just wondering, because if I have multiple of them, for example, right, where like let's say we're doing 4 different meetings. If they book a meeting, how would it know which milestone it's triggering?
Well, it would look for just when's the next time they book. It wouldn't look at, is there something in the future? It should just say, maybe you have 5 meetings already booked in the meeting. It's not, is there a future meeting on the calendar? It's, did they add a meeting to your calendar?
Okay.
Yeah, it's just the next meeting getting scheduled.
Okay, yeah. And then I saw like Sam threw a question like, is there a way for like tasks to not have a due date? Because I think that
Mhm.
that would
Yeah.
be a nice thing as
Yep.
well.
Yep. This task has a due date, but you can, like, if I add a new task, oh, maybe there's not. Do you have to have a due date?
Because I think maybe I won't speak for Sam, but like I said, what I kind of run into is I might have a good chunk of tasks that live within a milestone, and then they all get triggered right at once. And if I could, so, some of them don't even need due dates per se, right? I would say like some of them are just
Yeah.
me checking the box of like, okay, did you do this as you were like going through the analysis or something?
Yeah, I think for us too, it's similar that the tasks sometimes are like tasks that you have to do by X date. And then tasks within projects often are just like pre-meeting prep, like this has to get done. But like either the meeting hasn't booked, so like figuring out what that date is tough. It's more of a checklist per se than a task per se. And therefore that's what we find too. So I hear where you're coming from.
Yeah, well said, Sam. That's exactly what I'm saying.
Cool. Yeah, this is helpful. It looks like with a project template, you have to have a due date. Obviously, these are all relative, like it's due one day from task creation date. I can, yeah, we can talk through that. Obviously, when you create a task, you can, I don't know if you saw when I create a task, this is just a regular, sorry, I'm just using shortcuts here. This is just a regular task creation window. You can turn off the due date, but it looks like in a project, you cannot. You have to have a due date.
Yeah, Max just confirmed project tasks have to have a due date. Other tasks can have none.
Cool. I didn't know that distinction.
So there's a request here for project tasks having no due date.
Having no due date.
I'm hearing.
One setting I neglected to mention here is down here where it says project, there are project level settings. This allows you to turn on the Kanban view. Kanban means that like card view where you can move projects forward, and then you can attach files as well. Cool. Okay, I'm seeing chats in here. Jen, I see yours. I have a Calendly Zapier integration that triggers automations based off a specific meeting. So if you have a specific link to schedule, perhaps you can launch a specific projects and have that separate from the client onboarding process. It's a good idea. That's a good idea, Jenna. How hard was that to set up?
The same kind of process that I have for like the prospect get to know you meeting triggers a like adding on a prospect and adding onboarding. I could just imagine that you replace that thing with like employee stock as the name in the title and then replace the trigger instead of add a prospect be launch this project. So I think that you could replicate what you're already doing, but just do it as like an ad hoc separate thing that's not triggering, not in sequence with everything else.
That's very cool. It's a great idea. Cool. Any questions I missed in the chat? Anything I should go back and address, Hannah?
I think you're good.
And it's Emma Hayden.
Yeah, it is Emma.
Sorry, Emma.
You're good.
Intake forms,
Would be sick.
Intake forms comes up every week these days.
I hope we're listening to our users.
Awesome. Well, great. That's what we have planned for today. Anything anybody wants to cover? Anything I can help with?
I would just say for the people that are like curious about the automation product or project tagging that or triggering projects, the tags trigger, like tag added, is a pretty like dynamic trigger that you can use to like kick off prospect projects. And that's one that we use a lot to like run our projects when we don't know how to start them.
Cool. Yeah, and let me just show everybody. That's to be clear with what Ted's saying. Coming to new automations. You can use household tag added. So tag added, you could say start project, this, and then you go to a client record or a prospect, whatever. I'll do it with Sylvester Cat. Oh, did I say? I didn't specify which tag, so I'll just do affinity here. That would be an important part of the automation, wouldn't it? Oh, I don't even think I turned it on. Oh, well, you get the idea. Cool. While I do this that nobody really cares to watch, any other things coming up?
While you do that, I'll talk about Evan's question. It's a good one, Evan. Chat, finding the right document. The document window is just the phrase in AI for everybody. It's called the context window. It's how much you feed into what you're trying to search. Getting the right thing in Drive, we want to get better at. When in doubt, you can drag the document in. Obviously, trying to have it find the right document is just what we call them is tools. Like it's a tool we probably need to build better. But when in doubt, if you drag the document in, it should do a great job analyzing said document. I think a tool we're weak at is find document or find thing instead of documents. It hallucinates an impressively fake answer. We would want that to very much not happen. So even like when that happens to you, Evan, just like chat in, be like, hey, this like made up wrong stuff. Send us a message.
I gotta say it was impressive. If it were a real thing, it would have done a good job, but unfortunately not.
Yeah. So did it say like it thought it found it somewhere?
It didn't even mention the document. It did the review and analysis that I asked it to do, although I just knew that all of the details it brought up were not real.
Yeah, that's dangerous.
And it did fess up once I asked it.
You poked it like, hey, liar. Yeah. So I think
at least it was honest.
In those cases, I think it wasn't initially, which is not good. Yeah, if you have a document that gives it good insight, start with that one and probably say like, hey, from here, I want here's a tax return or whatever. I want some insights for the financial plan. It should do a pretty good job if you give it the right document.
Okay. And I do have to say, I feel like it got a little worse. Like when it first rolled out and I was using it, I feel like it did a good job of finding what I wanted. Over the last couple weeks, I feel like it kind of stopped trying.
What's a good question you asked it that it's gotten worse at?
Just basically like find these specific documents in these subfolders and then do these things. That's basically what I do. Find these specific documents with these titles and then search through them to do these things. And initially, I feel like it did finding documents. Over the last couple of weeks, I feel like it's been less able to. Like it's needed ID numbers for the files from Google Drive, or it just wasn't able to find them.
Cool. I have that exact question.
That's good to know.
Yes,
that's good to know.
Yeah, I think the multi-document fetch concept, it probably gets a D- at.
Can I ask a question about the documents in the Google Drive or whatever, whichever drive you're using? Yeah. So if we have like a tax return in there, because I know the social security number is like hidden, right? And within Slant. But if the social security number is on the tax return, essentially is that information now available like for help me understand that?
Yeah, our job is to constantly redact PII so you can just have a normal interface with anything in the AI. So you've given the document to Slant, which you have, and it's unredacted. When we send things to the model, that's where a lot of our engineering resources go to. We're stripping it out.
So if I have a tax return in there in my Google Drive, and then I ask it a question, it's getting stripped out when the AI, whatever model you're using, goes and looks at it.
Yeah, we're finding a way to safely send the document to one of the three models to pick.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you.
Totally.
Nice. Okay, if anybody wants to hang around, we'll stick around for additional questions, but that's all the prepared material we had for today. Thank you so much for participating, for being here, for trusting us, for working with us, for helping us, all the things. All right, it looks like there's no more questions either, so I'll go ahead and shut out the rest of the meeting. I hope you all have a great rest of your week.
Good job, Hayden.
Bye, everybody.